Wow, who would have guessed that we would get this crazy scene in this chapter? I mean, I'm completely blown away. A pineapple eating another pineapple? Raw? What savagery is this? Pineapple cannibalism. Now, this chapter was very heavy on rocks. We did have a lot of Whitebeard related stuff in here, and of course the crazy end scene between Big Mom and Kaido. I knew that something was fishy here. Now, I was super excited to read every single page of this, and I couldn't have asked for a better setup to chapter 1000. I really think that anything is possible now. I want to talk about Ace, I want to talk about Yamato, about Tama, Marco, Zoro, the Yonko, and of course, what might happen in chapter 1000. All of it. So without any further ado, grab yourself a hot cup of coffee or your favorite beverage of choice, fasten your seatbelt, and let's jump right into this sushi-grade chapter of One Piece. Now, this chapter pretty much had me hooked right from the very first panel. And I think it speaks for Oda's writing that I felt incredibly hyped without Luffy making even a single appearance in this. Now, I was really hoping for a Yamato Ace flashback this week, though to be honest, I was a little bit scared that it might drag on for too long and then kind of interrupt the flow of the story. But boy, I think that the 5 pages that we got were not only right to the point, but also all I could have asked for. As it turns out, Kaido hadn't actually been in Wano when Ace and his crew arrived there. This was evidently before he joined Whitebeard, as Ace is missing his tattoo on his back. The dynamic that Yamato and Ace create during their fight is simply fantastic. While Ace truly overestimated himself in believing that he could take on Kaido with his men, it shows that he's just also as compassionate and understanding as Luffy is. He immediately understands that Yamato doesn't like her father, and the way that he calls her out on her pain as they clash reminds me a lot of fights that Luffy has had before. Also, the way that he covers up for Yamato by punching the dragon statue after she herself had broken it in the first place is simply great. And then we get the scene that let my heart beat a little bit faster, because it raised the stakes for Yamato joining the crew significantly. Yamato states that just like Oden, she wants to go out to sea and live freely. This, my dear friends, is clearly Yamato stating her dream within a flashback. Plus, she has a lot of room to grow by traveling with the crew, and she will have to be saved by Luffy. She pretty much embodies the overarching theme of freedom in the story as well. And be honest with me, the way that she smiles when Ace tells her about the world is just way too damn precious. And by the way, I absolutely love how Ace mentions Law and Beige and Kit, but then completely slaughters Cavendish's name, even though he craves attention so much. And of course, Ace not shutting up about Luffy is also just heartwarming. I think it's pretty fair to say that this was the moment that Yamato decided to be Oden. This seems to be her way of expressing and holding on to her own dream. Now, the flashback ends with Yamato unintentionally revealing that she is Kaido's daughter, which gives us the exact reaction from Momonosuke that I personally have been hoping for. Plus, Shinobu rolling away from her, being too exhausted to do anything else, is just hilarious. Yamato then reveals that Ace was actually Roger's son and Luffy's sworn brother. And as Yamato correctly states, it doesn't really seem like a coincidence that out of all the people out there in the world, Momonosuke brought Luffy back to Wano. Yamato connects this to fate and the D initial, and then she pulls out Oden's logbook. And I mean, come on guys, there must be something about the D clan inside there. Plus, I think it's also gonna be really nice to see Momo's reaction to seeing his father's journal. Now, parallel to Yamato, Nami reveals pretty much the same thing to Tama, another top contender for Straw Hat that has also been promised by Ace to be taken out to sea with him. Now, I think it's really worth mentioning Tama here, because it appears that not only was she brave enough to come to Onigashima on her own after being tormented by Kaido's men for all this time, but apparently she even came with a plan or some sort of strategy in mind that seems to have convinced Nami is worth a try. Now, of course, I'm crazily curious what this might be, and if the answer is feeding Kaido a dango ball, that would just be hilarious. Then of course we have the scene with Marco. While Robin and Brook make their way towards the top on foot, Marco keeps his promise to Zoro and starts carrying him towards the top of the dome. Now, hilariously enough, while we might have expected something like this, Marco simply grabs him with his legs and has him dangling below him. To be honest, Zoro doesn't seem to mind, however, and simply seems very eager to be joining up with Luffy to fight the big shots. As am I. Because this is the time for Zoro to really show us what he really got. There is, however, still a problem. Marco's way is being blocked by Queen and King, both of whom are in their full zone form now. We still haven't seen much of King, but Queen now shows us that he has guns hidden inside his mouth that he uses to shoot at Marco. Now, that doesn't really make sense, I feel, but it still looks pretty damn cool, so I'm good with it. I really wonder if Marco will make it past the two, drop Zoro off, before then making his way back down and fight them. Or whether Zoro will actually have to team up with him against an all-star before then being able to reach the top. Now, while all of this is happening, Marco has another flashback and we get even more Ace, who at this point not only has joined the crew, but has been named second commander of the Whitebeard Pirates, pretty much filling in Oden's position. When he begs Whitebeard to let him go back to Wano and fulfill his promise to Tama and Yamato, we finally find out why the Whitebeard Pirates never came to avenge Oden. The rationale was actually pretty straightforward. While the crew had actually learned about Oden's death only some time after it had happened, Whitebeard simply didn't want to sacrifice anyone else for the sake of revenge. And I think that this pretty much also explains why he didn't want to go after Blackbeard, and so is completely in line with his character. The only reason that he started a war for Ace was simply that Ace was still alive. It was a fight worth fighting for. Also, I think that this gives some more context to the conversation that Marco had with Big Mom. Whitebeard didn't want to wage war on Kaido for revenge, but now that he's dead, the Whitebeard remnants are free to do as they please, and so Marco is here. Also, seeing Blackbeard as part of the crew in this scene really hurts somehow. I like how Oda clearly shows his line of thought, as he falsely thinks that Ace simply wants to take out strong people. And Marco shedding a tear when thinking of all this really broke my heart. That man really lost everything. But now let's talk about the ending of this chapter, the crazy conversation between Big Mom and Kaido. First things first, Kaido sitting there and chatting with Big Mom, drinking some booze, pretty much confirms that the scabbards have been taken care of. I think that they're probably not dead yet, but boy will they be in bad shape when Luffy finds them. Then, as much as it scares me, I really love the Robin name drop from Big Mom. We all knew that other Yonko might very well be after her, but Big Mom being the first to openly say so really is a scary thought. And I also like that Kaido apparently knows about Pudding and openly asks about her. Apparently though, Big Mom has given up on her and wants a different and probably quicker solution. I also thought it was absolutely hilarious that Oda buried all the theories that Katakuri or Yamato might be Kaido's and Big Mom's child by having Lin pretty much bro-zone Kaido right in front of our eyes. I just see you more as a little brother. Ouch. And then we finally get two reveals at once. The debt that Kaido owes to Big Mom and Kaido's devil fruit. Because as it turns out, both of these things are pretty much the same. Big Mom was the one who gave Kaido his fruit at God Valley, the mythical fish fruit. And you just know that this will be the new meme thing. Kaido being a fish is just way too funny. I'm pretty sure someone has made this joke before, But this is pretty much One Piece going Pokemon. In case you don't know, there is a Chinese folktale that speaks of a koi fish climbing a waterfall and then being transformed by the gods into a dragon. Now honestly, I don't think that that's exactly what happened to Kaido, but I just think that his fruit is probably this mythical being. And I guess that in a way this makes sense. That's why Kaido couldn't drown himself and why he used Splash from that Sky Island and nothing happened. But it also throws up a couple of other questions, like, can Kaido move underwater? Or why is Kaido actually indebted to Big Mom for that? Because the fruit is so powerful and was treasured on the island? Or did she save his life by giving him the fruit? Also, the fruit being a mythical fish and having that resemblance with the palace on Fishman Island makes me wonder if there is some deeper connection there as well. Plus, I think it's really funny that all of the dinosaurs have dragon fruits, which by the way is because dinosaurs and dragons are both called Ryu in Japanese, but then Kaido, who is a literal dragon, has a fish fruit. Love it. Now, what does that mean for chapter 1000? Obviously, there are endless possibilities, but I feel like some things seem more likely than others. For example, if Oda decides to stay with the present storyline, I think that Yamato talking about the Will of D and Luffy reaching Kaido are two very big possibilities. We might of course also cut to another place of the world and get some more hype there. Or we might actually get a flashback with Big Mom and Kaido and rocks, which I personally would prefer the most. Let me know what you would like to see next chapter. I'll be in the comments for the first hour or so this video is up, so let's chat. Thanks guys, peace.